the VM to be simpler, like with a virtual domain, or it is allow by relocating execution of critical tasks from virtual domain to the host domain. So I will talk more about the para-virtualization. Sometime para-virtualization is used, but mostly when we talk about the data center and other, the hypervisor or the virtualization tool is used for doing the virtual. So welcome back, student. Now we have the last topic for today's lecture. It's related to VMware, and VMware is a market leader in virtualization technology. So we are going to cover a little bit of it. So ESXi. So what is ESXi? It is a name of the software abbreviation given by the VMware to its Elastic Sky Flexible Integrated. So ESXi provide virtualization layer that abstract the CPU and storage memory and networking resources of the physical host into the virtual machine. So basically below you have CPU, memory, network card, disk, storage device, and VMware ESXi installed on it. So it just allow it to make it use as a virtual machine of multiple virtual machine. The good thing is that this VMware ESXi is a very small size architecture. So like its footprint is smallest ESXi, depending on how large the hardware resources we want to use. Like if you have much more complex hardware resources of few terabyte, few cores, and few like 64, 128, 1 terabyte RAM, etc. Then depending on what is the network or the system configuration, the size of the VMware ESXi. So smallest we can get 200 MB or something like that. So there is a mathematical number like it is going to use 2 to 3% of the storage or available depending on the configuration of the system. It is a very reliable, means people are paying. I will later on can show you the comparison of the price of the ESXi and Hyper-V from Microsoft. It has a very small code base and it is highly secure, and it's doesn't give too much code to patch like Microsoft gives. And it comes with a control unit, like there is a user interface, this UI, which acts as a console, and it can be used to manage the ESXi server behind it. So in ESXi, it has its own kernel, which is known as VM kernel. And VM kernel is a microkernel which has 3 interfaces, which is hardware to the guest system, and there is a service console. So the VM kernel can get interface to the hardware below it, and the guest system above it, and also the service console, people who are trying to access the ESXi server. VM kernel handles the CPU memory directly by using scan before use, and it can handle a special and privileged CPU instruction. It has quite huge control of the hardware below it, and it can also track the allocated memory below it. The limitation of ESXi, I'm talking about the limitation of ESXi version 7. It was launched last year, April 2020 was the last version. Depending on the whatever ESXi is providing, the data center capacity is like that. It can take the maximum RAM of 24 terabyte, on host system maximum RAM 24 terabyte, and the number of hosts it can give high availability is up to 96, and maximum number of processor per virtual machine can be 768. So 768 core can be in one virtual machine by using ESXi host. So more detail for other platform, you can go to this link in Wikipedia and can see how other virtualization platform provides the services. The maximum number of virtual CPU can be 32, and so these are the some detail of the ESXi with the limitation, etc. So overhead it has is a 5%, as I was telling you. That 5% is the overhead for using the ESXi. So 5% of the memory available will not be available after the virtualization. So, but it is only 5%, not too big. Now, VMware has three components: ESXi, vSphere, and VMware vClient. It is a market leader, almost 77% market share it has, and it is better at the moment than Citrix, Zen Server, or Microsoft Hyper-V. It is quite stable and it is very flexible. And vSphere is a name, it comes as a suite like vCenter Sphere Server, vSphere Client, and vSphere Web Client. And it also has other features like vMotion, high availability, fault tolerance, which we have a lecture in the next week or after next week. Difference between a vCenter server and a vSphere client. So vSphere client is an interface. It is a graphical user interface used to connect remotely to the ESXi host from a Windows PC. This client can be used to access and manage the virtual machine. So we have a server and we install the ESXi server on the virtual machine to the host machine to virtualize it. Now, how to access it? To access it, we have to install this vCenter vSphere client. So using the client, we can access the virtualized server and we can create the virtual machine there. So it is basically a user interface to access the ESXi host and perform other management and configuration tasks. Now, if you want to, if you have many server, right, many ESXi hosts are there, and if you want to manage many ESXi hosts, let's say in the example case study we saw that 100 server. By using virtualization, we only needed 8 or 10 server. Now, if you want to manage that 8 or 10 virtualized server, then vCenter Sphere is needed. So vSphere client is basically, so it is a virtualization platform where ESXi host will be there, installed, ESXi will be installed, and to using the vSphere client on the user side, it can be remotely access the virtualization environment. So by using the vSphere client, we can access it. So if I want to access a ESXi host or server, then I have to install a vSphere client on my laptop, and via that, just like you are using PuTTY to access certain IP address, so similarly vSphere client will be needed to access the virtualized environment using the VMware hypervisor. You can see. So now vCenter server is basically, it is if you want to access many such ESXi host or server, then vCenter server is a management tool by which we can manage many servers. So there is a one server we want to connect, we connect via vCenter vSphere client. But if you want to manage many such server, then the software is available is vCenter server. So vSphere server is similar to vSphere client, but it comes with many features and more power. Obviously, it is accessing so many servers, so it has more power. Multiple ESXi host and VM can be managed from a single console. While vSphere client, we can only access a single host. Since it is server, it is managing the server. It has other feature like dynamic resource scheduler, high availability, vMotion, fault tolerance. If you want all these things, then we will have to need a vCenter server. This is a small feature, but in version 7, it can be accessed via Flash and HTML5 based interface. So vCenter web interface, it can be used as well. This is the last slide. Thank you for being here. After this, we can go for our evening. So VMware provide the availability. As per the availability or high availability, VMware has a lot of feature, and there are third party which can provide the high availability. So if we, and that comes with a service level agreement. So if we say 99% of availability, then the annual downtime is 87 hours. If you want 99.9%, then like this. And if you want 99.99%, then the downtime will be 5 minutes. Depending on what will be the agreement or availability needed, the price will be like this. Like this can be $500. If you want 99.9%, it can be 1,000. If you want 99.9%, it can be 5,000. So depending on how high available, because to make it high available, then the fault tolerance and every failure mechanism need to be taken care. So the price goes higher. Depending on the business need, this kind of availability can be needed or can be used. If you want to see a very basic comparison between vSphere 6.5 and Hyper-V, they have certain features like using vSphere or VMware 576 logical processor can be done, and Hyper-V 2016 512. Maximum memory host is 12 TB, here 24 TB, and like so this kind of thing, like maximum CPU per VM, there are 240 in Hyper-V. If you want to read more, there are more comparison is there in the next few lectures. I will show whenever I am discussing the migration of across the virtual machine. Then I will be giving the more comparison between vSphere and Hyper-V. So with this, I would like to say thank you. And if you have any question or any feedback or any query, then do drop